Good evening and welcome on this other edition of the news on Equinoxe Television. First, the top stories. As the situation escalates in the northwest and southwest regions of the country, would say religious leaders on your part are begging on the government to come up with long-lasting and definite solutions. And away from that, after the littoral region, the Minister of Sport and Physical Education has as well been in the southwest region. These are the top stories. The news in full in just a jiffy. Welcome back on the news, and we'll begin right away taking you to a locality, a village called the Teza village. Back there we are in the Momo division of the northwest region of the country. Smart Chicken Gabriel tells us that most housing government infrastructures have been totally abandoned. He paints a portrait of this via his report.
Government Primary School Teze, a locality under Ngi subdivision of the Momo division in the northwest region. The structure has been abandoned in grass. No teachers to teach or pupils to study as a result of the crisis. It was a similar situation we met at Government Bilingual High School Teze, which has been buried in grass for the past 3 years as a result of the armed conflicts. Residents have escaped for safety. The community hall that was constructed out of the sweat of the over 2,000 inhabitants of the village is now useless. No activities ongoing as grass has overtaken the whole area. During normal time, this playing pitch is supposed to be invaded by kids. Unfortunately, no soul is seen. The looks of the grandstand tells us no official event has taken place here for the past years. The post office that was also functional before the crisis started is now a dead zone, with grass overtaking the building and zincs partially destroyed. With the inhabitants of Teze village on the run, many are asking if life will return to normalcy soon in this village that was once vibrant.
And we talk something else with this images and brief. We definitely take you. We're talking about one of the lead stories in this newscast. The Presbyterian Church in Cameroon decries what it qualifies as barbaric and inhumane acts recorded in the crisis-hit regions this recent weeks. The church says enough is enough. Here a release signed by the PCC moderator, Reverend Funky Samuel Forber, highlighting gunshots, killing and general destruction of property in the English-speaking regions of Cameroon. Accusing fingers then pointed towards pro-independent fighters and the headsmen. The church would note here condemns the continuous violence in the regions. The religious leaders urged the government to show amnesty of the situation on the ground in the northwest and southwest regions in a bid to ensure a quick end to violence in these respective regions. And away from that, we would recall the crisis in the English-speaking regions has actually affected enormously the economic blossom of the country. These remarks have been made by economic stakeholders who call on the President of the Republic of Cameroon, President Paul Biya, to address the situation. We have details with Armstrong for Misanda.
The two-page open letter addressed to President Paul Biya by Cameroon Employer Organization, better known in French as GCAM, focused on an increasingly tense relations between the Director General of Taxation and private enterprises in Cameroon. GCAM begins by recalling the December 31st, 2019 message of President Paul Biya, outlining the need for everyone to be involved in the process to redo Cameroon's economy. As a major obstacle to attain the objective, GCAM says is an attitude of the Director General of Taxation, which has, according to them, systematically damaged relations between the states and private enterprises. In its letter, GCAM condemns what they say is an unfriendly relations between the Director General of Taxation and private enterprises in Cameroon, a tense atmosphere between enterprises and taxation services in Cameroon, the Director's vision and method of taxation administration, his inability to dialogue and manage contradictions, a tense atmosphere that followed his arrival at the Taxation Department, which according to GCAM saw the premature departure of some competent key taxation officials in Cameroon, his refusal to promptly deliver key administrative documents, which according to GCAM has consequently retarded investment in Cameroon. GCAM says the relations worsened in late 2019 when the Director General of Taxation outrightly rejected a fiscal reforms proposal from GCAM. The Director of Taxation, GCAM says, rejected the proposal on basis that GCAM wanted to assume the position of the state, a claim equally refuted by GCAM in their open letter to President Paul Biya. To GCAM, such claims are unfounded and has contributed in worsening the business climate in Cameroon, pushing many enterprises to close down. Cameroon Employer Organization GCAM wants President Paul Biya to react to the hovering divorce between the Director General of Taxation and private enterprises in Cameroon.
And we talk something else in this newscast. Administrative authorities of the Jombe-Pinja Council area have been called upon and cautioned to sit up. The call was made recently by the Senior Divisional Officer of the area, Noel Jana, while launching the 2020 budget in Jombe-Pinja. We have details with our reporter, Immaculate Fogwe.
The abandonment of public contracts by some contractors remains a reality faced in many localities across the country. One of those areas hit by the rising phenomenon is Jombe-Pinja, located in the Mungu Division, littoral region of Cameroon.
Those who took the projects, for it to be accomplished was a nightmare. They did not accomplish the project the way it was supposed to be. Carry on the work. So I began to ask myself, is that how we would develop this country if we think giving contracts to foreigners is a problem? And those who say they have the zeal to do everything, they have the capability to do work, and we give nationals to do the contract and are unable to do it, then it's a shame for us. Let them do what they can do and let's see our progress, how it evolves.
The Senior Divisional Officer for the Mungu Division, Noel Jana, during his administrative tour in Jombe-Pinja, cautioned administrators to serve the population adequately. The call was made during the holding of the 2020 budgetary session.
Nous pensons tel qu'il a été élaboré, qu'il a pris en compte.
Everything has been said, and I know they have taken into account the challenges of ameliorating the living condition of the population. If they follow the right track, then they will be able to eradicate poverty in the area.
Contre la pauvreté et promouvoir le développement qui va l'entraîner.
The 2020 budget for Jombe-Pinja stands at 676,683,649 francs, with it witnessing an 11.38 increase. The budget is expected to tackle developmental projects such as roads, water facilities and other infrastructures so as to meet with the expectations of the population of Jombe-Pinja.
And away from that, we move on to sports news. We would recall that the Minister of Sport and Physical Education was in Douala Littoral region of the country a couple of hours ago in a bid to inspect the finishing of sport infrastructures in Douala. We have details with Innocent Aze.
In prelude to the last inspection visit of the delegation of the Confederation of African Football, CAF, on the 9th of February in Cameroon, the Minister of Sports and Physical Education goes to the field to ensure works are being finalized at different construction and rehabilitation sites in Douala and other parts of Cameroon to host the African Nations Championship 2020.
Nous sommes là également pour pouvoir
Minister Narcisse Mole-Kombi says this is in a bid to meet satisfaction of the CAF fact-finding mission.
Fièrement satisfait.
The most essential expectation at the Japoma Stadium construction site is termination of the accessways, telecommunication and electricity establishments.
Il y a de petits dispositifs qui se mettent en place.
Slowly but surely, the sports minister knows will be attained before start of the CHAN 2020.
Et d'une technicité telle que l'on puisse pouvoir en disposer suffisamment à temps avant le début des compétitions.
During a meeting, the Camtel officials briefed and confirmed that the optic fiber at Japoma is yet to be accomplished. It is noted the realization rate of accessways into the Japoma Sports Complex stands at 99%. A stone throw from Japoma, works to enlarge the east entrance into Douala is ongoing. The minister and his delegation also stopped at the Akwamba Pelepe Stadium, where light torches are being made. In all, Mapelepe is ready to host the 2020 tournament. Last stop in Douala was at the Bepanda Omnisport Stadium, where finishing touches are soon to be made, especially with regards to electrification and internet installations. The Sports and Physical Education Boss, before his departure to inspect sports infrastructures in Limbe and Boya in the southwest region, could smile with works realized in Douala and upbeat for successful hosting of the CHAN 2020 from the 4th of April to the 25th.
And let's get these images compiled by our Southwest correspondent, Derek Jato. Still in sport, after making a stop in Douala, we're still in a sports photo. The Cameroon Minister of Sports and Physical Education, Professor Narcisse Mole-Kombi, who doubles as the president of the local organizing committee of the 2020 African Nations Championship and the 2021 African Cup of Nations, has visited some sports infrastructures in Boyo and Limbe in the southwest region ahead of the sporting events. Among key measures to spearhead finishing on the playground security in the southwest region is also highly ensured by the minister. Welcome back, and up next, Talking Point. Welcome back, and riding on with Talking Point, we are receiving football coach in the person of Joseph Monte, who will be right here with us for a couple of minutes to tell us a lot more about his perception about the preparatives so far of the AFCON and the CHAN Games. Good evening and welcome on board Talking Point on Equinoxe Television.
Good evening, Amin.
And certainly you're abreast with the visit of Minister of Sports and Physical Education, Narcisse Mole-Kombi, getting down to the field after the visit of the Confederation of African Football Commission just a couple of days ago. What's your immediate impression?
Let's say it is the duty of the minister to go to the field, to visit all the infrastructure, to be sure that everything is okay. We are also very satisfied, all Cameroonians are satisfied with the message of Ahmad, the president of CAF, because remember 2019, he came here in Cameroon and then he told us that it's not his responsibility to remove this competition to Cameroon. But later on, we realized that they postponed it to 2021. So we are really, really satisfied and we are really happy. And the minister should also always go to all other infrastructure to control, to be sure that everything will be okay.
And what is your general view? How do you perceive the work so far on the ground? Let's say, as per the infrastructures, everything is ready. The probability is high that Cameroon will receive all the players and the visitors from far and near.
The playing ground maybe can give some satisfaction, but concerning the other issue, let's say the roads, the hotels, and any other attractive activities can satisfy tourists, those who are going to celebrate with us in Cameroon, we have to say is not yet satisfactory. So they really need to do something about that, because it's not only football, it's also a cultural activity, and then not only the sport minister should mobilize. We have Minister of Tourism, you have Minister of Security, you have the Minister of Travel Public, and so on. They really need to give all their best so that everything should be together, so we can give a best of ourselves to other delegations who are going to visit us.
Now, what's the priority? What are the priority areas when a country is to receive visitors or players from far and near for a continental or even a global football tournament like what Cameroon is about to receive in a couple of weeks for the CHAN 2020?
No, any sector is a priority. There is no sector that they have to neglect. They have to take everything in consideration. They have to put all the impacts so that they can ameliorate things. It's not yet time, it's not more time to say we are going to see. No, Ahmad came and imposed a date. If you were waiting for a Cameroonian, certainly they will say we should play in June. But I'm also very satisfied because Ahmad put more pressure on Cameroon. So we need to sincerely move and consider all the sector like priorities. We don't have to neglect anyone. Even in a medical way, it's very, very important, because the plateau technique must be okay. The players, when they are going to the pitch, they are giving all, because they are sure that in case of any accident, immediately the prison charge can be there fast as possible. So you cannot say we have to privilege only the field, or we privilege only the tourism, while the routes are not really there, or while the security is not on the top. So they have to take all the sector in consideration and make everything like priority.
And talking about all the sectors, we have aspects of playgrounds in the respective regions. For instance, that of the North region would see that of the West region playgrounds. What's your perception of those other regions and your preparatives so far?
No, the main problem for Cameroon is Olembe Field.
Okay.
Yeah, we know, all of us, we saw it on the TV, and then the government have the courage to stop Prime Potomac, and they were not really moving with the work on the field, and they complained that they did their own part, and then they were waiting for Cameroon to realize their own part. Till now, nobody can tell you really what happened, but something is sure that we heard about workers complaining about non-payment of their salary, of their dues.
Even in the North region, we had workers who striked.
Of course,
yeah.
I think they tried to arrange things. Is more progressing in the North than in Olembe. And what is really surprising is that the head of state is not up to 15 minutes to that stadium. Only one visit can put more pressure on the workers, or even on the company who took that job. So they were forced not to give to Magir, who constructed the field, who rehabilitated the field of reunification here in Douala. We are expecting that within 2 or 3 months everything will be okay. So Olembe field is the biggest problem of Cameroon, because it's a field that field carried the name of the head of state, and we were expecting that field should be the first one to be steady, to be okay. But it is encouraging anyway. And I hope that we are going to organize, because I have all the advantage that they should play the Nation Cup in Cameroon as a coach.
That's a good projection. And what's the lapse of time normally necessary for a country to cut the T's and dot the I's in terms of general infrastructure in all the sectors? What's the lapse of time? Are we not going to say Cameroon is always used to last minute affair?
Normally we're supposed to present all the realization 6 months before. Let's say the hotels, the roads, the plateau technique concerning the medicals, the stadium, and so on. We also have to give some assurance concerning the security. So let's say 6 months is the limit. If before that time we cannot, I'm sure that CAF can do something. It's not because they have just announced the date, but it doesn't mean that if Cameroon is not steady, they will continue to hope on Cameroon. So nothing is sure. What we have to do is to really
nothing is sure for the Shan.
No, nothing is not yet. It's not yet sure.
Okay.
So the problem is that I'm satisfied with Ahmad because he imposed a date. That date meant more pressure on Cameroonians, of the authorities and all those who have the responsibility to advance with the works on the field. But now 6 months. Let's say we are playing in January 2021. Now we are in January also. Let's say we have 6 months. In June we're supposed to at least present everything to the CAF with the video. They will have the last visit here in Cameroon. Don't forget that we have many countries around us who are already steady and they are just waiting that they should remove this to Cameroon. Morocco is steady, Algeria is steady. So if Cameroonian does not really move, they're not really smart on the field, I'm sure that maybe something can happen. So it is our role, it is our duty to criticize, to remember to the authorities that even if Ahmad gave us a date, even if we are happy now, but it's not too sure. They need to push with the work on the
It's
field.
not too sure for the Shan, but it's probable for the 2021 African Cup of Nations.
No, 21 Cup of Nations. I was talking about 21 Cup of Nations because the Shan is 3 months.
Yes.
The Shan is 3 months.
Yes.
No, it's about the Shan. Shan is okay. There is no problem about the Shan because they cannot insist on many infrastructure with the Shan like a can. A Shan is a mini can.
Okay.
And it is the first assessment. They have to see what we are capable of doing. You see the security, the organization, and so on. And there they will make a debrief after a Shan.
Okay.
To tell Cameroon, we observe the Shan, and then we don't want to see this. You have to ameliorate this sector because we are expecting that CAN is a bigger competition than a Shan. Okay. We just give you the Shan to see if you are capable of organizing a big competition. So for me, Cameroon have this opportunity to make a mistake with the Shan, but they cannot make a mistake with the CAN.
Thank you so much. We're receiving Joseph Monte. He is a football coach. Thanks a lot for accepting our invitation.
Thank you for inviting me.
And that does it for this pack of the news and of Talking Points. We'll meet you tomorrow.
Okay.